Okay, so Marilla has got very beautiful hair, and it's made up with these two elements. You've got the hair roses here and the curls. The curls are made in the same way, but there's just two different lengths of those, but they are an identical way of making them. So I'm going to show you these two elements so you can make as much hair as you like. Okay, we're going to start by looking at how to make the hair roses. I've kept the ends on here because I'll be able to use those to sew them onto Marilla. So it's hard to see because they're black and it's not easy to show black on camera, but we'll give it a go. If necessary, I'll make it in a different colour so you can see exactly how it works. Okay, now the eagle-eyed amongst you are going to notice that this is not black yarn. In fact, it is some leftover green ice, but the black, I just had a go at videoing it and you can't see it at all. So I need to just show you the technique on the green ice, and then you can go off and make it in the black quite happily. So I've just done a few chain here. Both the hair roses and the longer curls start with 42 chains. So if you make a 42 chain, you can go either way with them, but I'm going to do hair curl here. Hair rose here. So with my chain, I'm going to make double crochet all the way along it, which is something you'll probably be absolutely familiar with. But I wanted to just kind of be quite prescriptive where to ask you to put your hook on each of the styles of the hair because they are different. Okay, so for the hair rose, I'm going to start by putting my hook in the second chain from the hook. I'm going to make double crochets all the way across, but I'm going to put my hook under, so there's 2 strands of yarn going over across the top, if you can see that there, and go ahead and make my double crochet in the normal way. So hook in at the bottom, so there's 2 strands of yarn going across the top, make the double crochet. So if you go across the chain like this, making the double crochets all the way across, the hair rose will work better because the first sort of band will be nice and flat if you make sure that you have 2 strands across the top of the hook every time you make a double crochet. So for the hair rose, make sure 2 strands across the top of the hook. So I'm going to go across, I'm going to make this actually in black so you can see the next part nice and clearly. So that's just the tip for the hair rose. Right, when you're coming to the last stitch, I realise you can't see an actual thing of what I'm doing here because of the colour of the yarn, but when you'll get to your last double crochet on the chain, you're going to switch to silver, and you can do that in exactly the same way that we've done before, which is just pull the loop through that last stitch and tighten it up. Okay, you can snip the end of the black yarn, leave it quite long because you can use that to secure the curl and then also to actually attach it to the head. Okay, so I'm going to make a chain. Whether I think I should have made a chain. No, maybe I shouldn't, it doesn't matter. And turn the work. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back along the chain and just make a slip stitch into every stitch, and that's going to give that lovely silver line all the way around the centre of the coil of the hair. That's how that's done. So just slip stitching all the way along, and it shouldn't be too tricky, she says, or immediately messing it up, because it's quite sort of, you can see where you've got to, if you do it from the side, it's quite easy. So all the way along, all the way along, slip stitch, and I will do that and see you at the end. Right, I'm all the way across now at the end. If I missed that. There we go. That's the last one. So I'm going to snip that yarn. Oh, cut the end of my thumb there. And just pull. Whoops, where's it gone? Pull that through to secure it. Right, so you've got a sort of fairly straight-ish piece of crochet, which is just a double crochet with a black double crochet with a silver slip stitch all the way across. And you're now going to coil it up, and I would start curling from the end with the most of the, or certainly with the black ends hanging off it, because there's a bit of a bump there and it helps to hide that bit of a bump. So just fold it back on itself and then just simply roll all the way along. Okay. Hold all the way. Coil it round. Not too tight, because you know you want to be able to see all the detail of the lovely stitches. Okay, and when you're coiled it up, you can pop a pin in if it helps you. I need extra hands with everything I do because I'm not very dexterous. So I'm going to pop a pin, and that's going to keep it coiled. And then I'm actually going to use this silver end, thread my needle, and just pop a few stitches through to hold it all together and keep it coiled. So I'm going to, you can see the threads coming off from the top here. I'm just going to, with my needle, pass it through the kind of the bottom of the stitch that it's come from and over it onto the back. So if I go like that and pull it down, you can see it doesn't make much of a difference to the view from the front. But when I turn it onto the back, I've now got silver yarn coming through. And all I'm going to do is just pick up a few threads of the stitches coming through to the centre, just to hold it in place. Where am I? In here. And then move along and come back out sort of in a little further along, just to hold it. It doesn't need to be, you know, rock hard to withstand a hurricane or anything like that. It's just to stop it unravelling when your envious future guests, at some point when we're allowed to see people again, come to your house and want to give her a cuddle. Stop her hair getting dishevelled. We've all been there, ladies. Right, so all the way through, it just will keep that, like I say, keep her hair nice and pretty. I've lost, it's come unravelled, that's all right. Keep going. Just through a few. So that's now super secure. And what I'm going to do with that silver, I'm going to tie these two off, these two ends. I can take my pin out now. And tie them in a double knot. And the great thing is, because they are going to be on the back, you won't see them, so you can just snip them. Just snip them. Right, so good secure double knot. Do another one if you fancy, because I know I'm gonna. I have a complicated relationship with the silver yarn. I am mistrustful. So I'm going to snip it nice and close there. Might need to take a little bit more off, but that's all right. And when I look at it from the front, might try and remember to put it on camera, I've got a perfect little hair curl. Or a hair rose. So you need to make 5 of those, and my suggestion, in the booklet you go straight on to making lots of curls, which is fab, but what I would suggest you do is make these first, and then we're going to do the face, because you want to have enough black yarn left to make the facial features. Once they're done, then you can go wild with the hair. So let's go and position these on onto Marilla. Right. She's getting weirder, isn't she, by the moment? I finished the... Oh, look, I've still got some ends sticking out, but don't worry. I've finished the hair roses, and I've put them across the top of her little forehead because, like I said, I think you're better to put them on before you sew the features on. Now, obviously, she's got a lot more hair to go on the sides. Look, I'll just... sort of hold them up. You can see how lovely she's going to be, can't you? She's got to have loads of those. But I think the best order, personally, is to do the roses, do your features, and then you're going to know how much black yarn you've got left over, so you can make as much or as little hair as you like. Now I'm now thinking I may have done the eyes a little bit too far down, but it doesn't matter. She's going to have obviously 2 eyes. I put one on just to have a go to see if I could give you, I'm terrible at sewing, terrible. So I might not show you my sewing, but what I wanted to show you is the positioning. I personally now wonder whether I've put that on a little bit too far down. But what I did was counted on the picture, counted from the neck up, and that's sort of the position of the eye. I might, if I make it a bit more, you know, rounded, it might even it up a bit, or I might just put another few curls underneath here, which is probably the better option. Hello folks, I'm just interrupting myself to stop this waffle. Basically what I'm trying to say here is finish the hair roses first, position them on Marilla, then make the facial features, because you're going to just use a little bit of black yarn for that. Once you're happy with the positioning, you can then use all of the remaining black yarn to make as many curls as you like. And if you look here at my finished Marilla, you'll see I did end up moving those hair roses down a little bit, and I think she looks a lot nicer for it. Right, so once you've made Marilla's face, you will have everything that's left on the ball of yarn, the black ball of yarn, you can make hair with. So you can make as much or as little hair as you like. These are the longer length curls, black and silver. You can see silver ends up quite a lot shorter. But both lengths are made in exactly the same way. The only difference is the length of the chain that you begin with. So I'm going to show you how to make them, and I'm going to use the green ice yarn because you can't see the black when I hold it up to the camera. So let's make it with the green ice, and you'll see how easy they are to make. Right, so I've just made a chain of 22, which is the length, the shorter length, but the longer length is 42, and it's made in exactly the same way. So you can make them whatever length you like, to be honest, but we've got 2 lengths in our book, 42 and 22. We've got some made out of the black yarn, some made out of the silver yarn, but they're all made in exactly the same way as I'm going to show you now. The chain is the same. You know, we've started with a chain, a bog standard chain that we start many projects with. The whole key to getting a nice springy ringlet is what I'm about to tell you. It's magical. I'm going to start in the second chain from the hook because we're going to be making double crochet, UK terminology. And what I'm going to do this time is just pick up that top leg of the stitch, so or of the chain. So just one thread going across the top of my hook, not 2 as we did last time, just 1, and make my double crochet. So just keep picking up just 1 thread. Can you see there's just 1 there, not 2, just 1. Just keep picking them up and working down, just 1. And what you will see, watch what happens, just 1 as I keep going. One. As I work along, picking up just 1 thread, that end will curl, which is magical actually, because when I crochet into a chain, I always make sure to pick up 2 threads. So that's what I had done when I was making curly, swirly things before, actually for another one of Eleonora's projects, for a little jellyfish, and my tentacles wouldn't curl. I mean, can you imagine? Non-curling tentacles, and we discovered it was because I was picking up 2 threads rather than just 1. So it will curl, curl, curl. I'm going to go all the way along and then show you. Right, so I'm at the very last stitch, and I will snip that. When you make them, leave the ends reasonably long because you can use them to attach the curls to the head. So just pull that through with a slip stitch. Now you can see the end is curled all by itself, but if I just give it a little twist, this is the short one, don't forget, the long one's going to be the length of that. You can see a beautiful little curl. You can even, if you want to, wrap it around a pencil to give it a curl, but I don't think I need to on this one. But if you wanted a more loose curl, I don't think I do. I like them tight and beautiful like that. But if I wrap them around my Loch Ness pencil here and just slide that off the end, absolutely perfect ringlet. So as long as you have completed the hair roses and also made Marilla's pretty face, you've got everything that's left with your black yarn to make curls with to give her beautiful hair. So once you've done as many as you want, that's that. So can't wait to see your Marilla's. I'm going to finish off mine now and I'll show you a look at the end.